best compliments I can get is like, wow, I've been with my agent for 10 years and in 20 minutes, you've taught me more than like, I never knew that that's what these numbers meant.
Yeah.
It's not about selling them something. It's about explaining what they have, figuring out what they need, and let them make a choice with the information that they have, and just slowing down.
I think there's probably a stigma out there, myself included. And I've said it, you may have heard me say it, that insurance is something that, gosh, we all have to have, but none of us really like.
Yeah, it's one of those things it's not something you like having. It's not something you want to use, but when it's there, I mean, you can buy the best plan in the world, but if it's something you don't need, then it's worthless. And you can buy the cheapest plan in the world, but if it doesn't do what you want it to do, it's worthless. So yeah, we're going to take some time. We're going to find out what you actually need. I always tell people we can do the best job in the world for you today, but if we don't talk for another 5 or 10 years, it might not be still the same best policy for you.
That's right. Hey guys, welcome back to More Than a Mortgage. This podcast is all about introducing people in our industry to you, right? And so the cool thing is I want to focus on storytelling. My name is Gavin Sessions, and I'm your host. Today, I've got the pleasure of having Keefan Caron join us. He is an insurance agent with Idaho Farm Bureau Insurance. That's a brand many of you probably are familiar with. But yeah, we're excited to hear Keefan's story. I actually don't know Keefan all that well. We've had the opportunity to have coffee together. We've got some mutual friends, but I'm excited to learn right along with you guys, the audience. So Keefan, really excited for you to be here today. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Happy to be out from behind my desk. So this is great.
Yeah, we were just talking a second ago off camera, how important it is for us in sales to get out and about, right? My worst days, I feel like, are when I'm stuck behind a desk. So
yeah, and it feels like your longest days too when you're there. Yeah, and it's easy to get bogged down in that side. But yeah, getting out and talking with people and hearing stories and visiting with them and learning about them, that's kind of what makes this business fun and enjoyable.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. That being said, man, we would love to get to hear a little bit of your story. So as always, we want to be as unscripted as we possibly can. And I've got a couple questions that I tend to ask a lot of our guests. I'll start it off this way. I'm sure when you were 10 or 12 years old, you were like, hey, I'm going to be an insurance agent when I grow up.
As most kids do, I mean, you got the top 3: insurance agent, CPA, librarian. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the goal.
And then if that was your big 3, how did you possibly decide on insurance?
Yeah, no, it was obviously, grew up in the era of Top Gun. So fighter pilot was number 1 and firefighter number 2. And I don't know, I just I've always been in and around the service industry. And I had my own insurance with Farm Bureau for 13 years prior to going to moving over. And every year I'd meet with my agent, and every year he'd ask me if I was ever interested in doing this. And it wasn't really kind of on the radar, but I started out, I was in the car business. I ran the finance department for a big car dealership here in town. And it was a good job. It wasn't the typical sleazy car salesman type thing, but it was a grind. It was 0 to 0 every month, and starting over. And it's a tough business. There's a lot of it's a burnout business too. There's a lot of people that don't make it out of it. There's a lot of drinking, a lot of late nights, a lot of hours, and so I'd kind of saw the writing on the wall that like this wasn't going to be forever. I think I needed to do a career change. And so, but it was always, well, I'll change. I'll do something different when the truck is paid off, or when the kids are here, or when this or that. There was always a date. And gosh, back in about 2008 when everything crashed, God just he made that decision for me.
Fair.
And I got laid off. They took pretty much everybody that was at the top of the pay scale and let about 10 or 15 of us go. And I had a good reputation. I could have gone to any dealership down the road and gotten a job that day. And I heard a voice, and I just believe it was God just telling me that, there's something else for you. And consequently, I just had my renewal meeting with my agent that day, and we had made some plans to have lunch a couple of days later. And I let him know what happened, and he says, "Well, did you ever think about doing insurance?" And I said, "Well, you have my attention now." And it's been a great move. It was definitely a leap of faith. Started out as a scratch agent, so you don't just walk into an insurance business. A lot like your mortgage, you have to start with customer number one.
Yep.
And so it was a big leap of faith, a big pay cut. But it was the best thing that could have happened to me and my family in the car business because the hours. I don't know how many times I missed family dinners, how many times I ate cold meals or missed ballet recitals and basketball games and that sort of thing. And so with insurance, it gave me opportunity to have some more time with my family, and it was really helping people too in sales. Which essentially is what it is. You never quite know if what you sold was the right thing,
Right.
if this person was the person that needed the extended warranty or that really needed, this much horsepower or whatever, the frills would be with a car. But with insurance, it definitely, did I sell them the right policy? Because I'm the one that gets the phone call when the house burned down or when the car crashed or God forbid when somebody passes away.
Yeah.
So it's been it was a rough start, but it's been very blessed and it's been a really good move. So I enjoy it.
Well, thanks for sharing that. Heard some cool things that I want to maybe back up and just camp on a little bit. As a college student, I ended up with some friends that started bartending, right? Ended up in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something a few minutes ago about car sales. And I don't know that those are the same industry, but it kind of feels like those are two industries that are maybe difficult to get out of.
So really funny. So I started in the restaurant business,
Okay.
Restaurant and bar. And so yeah, right out of high school, went in and was managing some restaurants down in Southern California and a lot of fun. A lot of late hours, you're closing down at midnight or 1 and that sort of thing. And then it kind of fell into the car business at a time I'd met a guy that I was bartending, kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do again. And I had met a new friend and he says, "Well, I got a unique business opportunity for you." And I immediately thought he was going to try to sell me Amway. I'm like, oh gosh,
Melaleuca.
yeah, but it was the car business, and I had a lot of preconceived notions, as most people do, about the car business.
Yeah.
And it was completely different. Great group of guys. It was a good company that I worked for, and it provided a great living for about 11 years. But yeah, I moved from the restaurant business to the car business to insurance. But so it's been kind of a journey, but I actually, even when I look for employees, I think you get so much out of the restaurant business. I think everybody should have to go through the restaurant business at some point, just to even know how to be a good customer, a good tipper, a good patron.
For sure.
But I think that so much of the service business and so much of sales comes out of that. I mean, that's your ultimate. You're talking to people. You're going up to complete strangers. Table after table after table. And so I think you gain a lot of experience and just that comfort level of getting out of your shell. So I think actually, most of my friends wouldn't know this of me now, but at one time I was kind of like, shy and quiet, and like the restaurant business gave me an excuse to actually talk to people like, wow, this is my job. I have to go up and talk to this person. I have to do this. And now the shyness is long gone. So
yeah, maybe there's something there, the power of kind of scripting or repetition or practice, if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. We hired a gal years ago, right out of the restaurant business. I won't name her name. And she worked out with us for a few years, but what gave us peace of mind to give her a shot was, hey, each one of these tables that she waits on, or that any server would wait on, is kind of like a mini escrow transaction, right? You've got a warm welcome. You've got, hey, what can I get you to drink? What appetizers do you want? All the way through, and you're checking in the whole way, right?
Follow up, yeah.
Yeah. And then when it's all said and done, if you did a great job, right, then they're going to reward you with a
commission,
tip, right? Or a commission or whatever that looks like, right? And so, yeah, we took a flyer on somebody that we believe the same thing you exactly just said, which is, hey, anybody that can manage potentially multiple tables at the same time probably has at least a good baseline understanding of what it would look like to be in more of a service level sales position, right? So,
yeah. And you learn to deal with complaints. You're the first person to hear it as a waiter, and in business, things don't always go your way, and so that listening skill, that de-escalation skill, that all right, let's make it right. How can we fix this? That comes all the way back to 100 years ago when somebody's burger didn't come out right, or forgot to get the right drink or something like that.
Yeah.
It's I think there are so many experiences that are linked in, and I think that's a natural service position for sure.
I think servers, waiters, waitresses, whatever you want to call them, I think they get so many reps on a daily basis too. They can try something like, hey, a greeting or some way to maybe try to upsell somebody to a beverage or an appetizer, and you can just try things. Hey, that didn't work, or this worked, and then you start to kind of build your repertoire or your kind of talk track or your script of how you're going to greet somebody, and then you get repeat customers, right? And then they kind of expect the same treatment, assuming it was good. And
yeah, absolutely. I had a friend of mine. So the first restaurant I worked at right out of high school. It's funny, I'm an insurance agent, but we spend more time talking about restaurants, but that's fun. Right out of high school, me and my best friend, we were this restaurant that we were at. They didn't really have waiters; they had busboys, but the busboys were kind of waiters. It was, I'd say the Soup Plantation down in Southern California. They're long gone now, but it was kind of an upscale Beverly Hills style sizzler type thing. So it was always a question of, do you tip or not? Because you didn't take an order, you didn't do anything, but you refilled drinks, you got napkins, you cleared their table, you did all this stuff. And so me and my buddy would always have a competition on tips and just little stuff to do. And I noticed that a lot of the busboys, if they came out to their section and there were 3 tables dirty and there was one that had a tip on it, most people would go to clean the one that has a tip on it first.
Naturally.
And so what we did, we would go and we would clean all the ones that didn't have a tip on it. Because if you wonder like, hey, am I supposed to tip? Like the first thing you do is you look around at the other tables and go, no, I guess we are supposed to tip. So we always wanted to leave that as long as possible. And even like when you'd go over to that table, you'd clean the table, but you leave the money there as long as possible before you put it in your
Trying
pocket.
to show off the norm to the other guests.
And I think it was 2 things. One, it was like, all right, that wasn't the most important thing to me was the tip. Sure. It was the service. And then 2, show off. Yeah, this is the norm. But it was just kind of little things like that you would just learn that aren't necessarily what most people would think. Most people would run, I'm going to grab the tip. And I think, one was because that wasn't the most important thing for me. But by doing it that way, it also showed other people that, okay, and we typically got more tips than anybody else. So
there you go.
So just little things like that and just anticipating what people's needs were. And I think that kind of translates, that anticipating needs and translates into what we do today is, you're talking about somebody's life and what their needs are, what their potential are. I got a teen driver, or I have this or that, and what policy is going to fit, how is that going to work, and trying to ask the questions before they think about it, because usually most people aren't thinking about what their coverage is until after they've had an accident, and that's too late. So it's just kind of anticipating, and it is. It's funny that those things that we learned years ago and something completely different and how they translate in. So it's neat. It's funny that you picked up on that.
Yeah. Well, and there's just so much psychology to sales as well. And I have to always be careful when I say this, because I don't want to actually believe that we're intentionally manipulating people. Right. But
there's a right and a wrong way to do it.
100%.
Yeah.
Right? And anticipating people's needs. If I say it this way with this tone of voice, warmly, authentically, I'm probably going to get a better response than if I didn't, right? Or the alternative, right? Yeah. So there's so many good books out there. Are you much of a business book reader?
I'll do. I've gotten this where I'll do the audibles, and I'll
Yeah.
do like 1 month. I'll listen to a business book, and then
Yeah.
the next it'll be just brain candy, and then next month it'll be. So I kind of do bounce back and forth a little bit, back and forth.
Nice. Do you remember the most recent business book you listened to?
I think Good to Great was one of them. I think it was Jim Keller. I can't remember. Tim Keller. I don't know. It was Good to Great.
Okay.
Was one.
Heard of it. I think it's on my list. If I pulled my phone up right now and looked at my Audible list, I think it's on there. I haven't read that one. So
yeah, it was good, and it's just kind of that mindset is, if good can be better, then, and, just kind of get to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, unfortunately, going back to the waiter and the tips and everything, everywhere you go now, there's a tip jar.
Yes.
And for the most part, they're just taking orders. They're not doing the service. I mean, I said back in the day when you really had to work. You really had to provide something that they weren't going to get anywhere else to earn that. And I think that was a good thing to do. And it wasn't, you're right. The psychology behind it. It's not like I want to manipulate this person to pay me, but I want to earn it.
Yeah.
I want to do something above and beyond to earn it and to do them a service. And today's world, it's, you picked out your coffee, push here for a tip. And it's just it's so different. So the plus side of that is the bar is very low. Like good service now is just returning a phone call.
That's true.
Good service now is just answering an email. It's, maybe sending a text on a birthday. Like the bar is very low. I would say in all industries, in the restaurant industry and the mortgage and real estate and insurance, you don't have to do much to be better than the average that's out there. But I think people deserve better than the average. I mean, it's always what I look for.
Yeah.
When I'm at a restaurant, when I'm doing anything in business, if I'm looking for a realtor or a mortgage person, it's that you don't have to do much. It's just that response, those little things. The bar's set pretty low.
Yeah, I agree with you. Unfortunately, that's probably true. What I will say is someone that's in sales, I grew up in like fast food. Like that was my first job, Dairy Queen, right? Now you go to a Dairy Queen, there's a freaking tip jar on the counter. It's like,
right.
I couldn't get a tip as a 15-year-old kid at Dairy Queen making a Blizzard.
Yeah.
And it was probably for the best, honestly, right? Like I learned different level of customer service than what a 15-year-old's going to learn today.
Yeah.
By working at a Dairy Queen or something like that. But what I was going to say is in sales, I think the best feedback we can get is if we can feel like we emotionally impacted that person in a good way, right? Because you could emotionally impact them in a bad way too.
Yeah.
But if they can feel something, right? If they can feel like, oh, this person actually is authentic. They actually care about me. They actually want what's best for me. Sure, there's some income in it for you and I as well. But at the same point in time, if you can help somebody feel confident and cared for and that they made a good choice, it's like they're probably going to go tell 5 to 10 people about you, right?
Yeah. And it makes your day so much better too, that, you have impacted. One of the things I pride myself on, my wife doesn't pride me on it, but I pride myself on that. I talk a lot. And so, the whole 15 minutes could save you 15% on your insurance. Well, 15 minutes isn't enough time to do that, but, I'm going to take 30 or 40 minutes on a phone call for a quote. And it's learning, what is going on and how I can best help you and that sort of thing. But the level of service, it's just not there. And so taking your time, finding out, what their needs are, it's not one size fits all or anything like that. And I pride myself not just on, like one of the best compliments I can get is like, wow, I've been with my agent for 10 years and in 20 minutes, you've taught me more than like, I never knew that that's what these numbers meant.
Yeah.
Because it's not about selling them something. It's about, explaining what they have, figuring out what they need and let them make a choice with the information that they have. And just slowing down.
It's good. Hey, let's back up just for a quick minute. You've teased this a little bit without explicitly saying it, but where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I always say I'm a Navy brat. I always say I'm from Florida because I
Okay.
grew up mostly in a small town called Pensacola, Florida, right on one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. And then moved to Southern California in high school.
Okay.
So I finished high school in Southern California, started in Florida. So I always say I grew up in Florida, but I moved here from California. I finished high school in Culver City, California. So
Okay.
where they really actually make all the movies. In fact, they filmed The Wonder Years in my high school
Really?
while I was in high school.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, they would close down halls during
That's
during
a cool
school.
story.
Yeah. So in the neighborhood,
Were the kids, were the cast, were they older? Were they high school age or were they actually older?
they were high school age. Yeah. I actually went to a homecoming. The girl I was dating, a girl that went to an all girls school,
Yeah.
and Tori Spelling was at that school.
Saved by the Bell.
90210. Yeah.
Oh, well,
90210.
Okay. Yeah.
And Winnie Cooper went to that high school. So yeah, so technically I was at a homecoming dance with
How
those
funny.
girls.
Was Winnie Cooper was her name on the show or that her real name?
That was the name on the show.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would have
I know
pulled out
she's-
Winnie Cooper as well, but I wouldn't have known
Yeah,
what her real name is. Maybe
Yeah.
she's listening and she'll
maybe. Yeah.
comment what her real name is.
Maybe.
What a great show, though. I wonder if my kids would enjoy that show.
I don't know. Yeah, we've gone back with our kids and shown them stuff, and it's funny. Some of the stuff holds up. It's still funny. Some of it's just like, oh my gosh, that was PG.
That's true.
Yeah.
Occasionally you're like, whoa, I don't think that'd be PG these days.
Yeah, but no, it was fun. So I grew up kind of all over. Was Navy brat. So I was born in Guam, and then we moved from Guam to Spain, and the first 4 years of my life in Spain. I don't know Spanish other than what I learned at the restaurant. Yeah. I remember about Spain. I remember the smell of churros.
Okay.
I remember a bullfight, and I remember doing a somersault over my neighbor's couch and hitting my head on a coffee table. And incidentally, that's the last memory I have of Spain. Not much after that.
Blacked out.
Yeah. But then grew up mostly in Florida, and then high school, Southern California. And happy to be not there anymore.
That's true.
But I've lived here, I think, going on 32 years or something like that. So,
long time.
Yeah, like twice as long as any other place I've ever lived.
Did you come here as an adult willingly, or did you follow family here?
Yeah, good question. An adult willingly. My family moved up the year I graduated. They said, "Hey, we're moving to Boise," and I was.
This was your parents?
Yeah, I was an 18-year-old kid, dumb, didn't know any better. I thought I was in LA. I'm in Hollywood. I'm where it's happening. I'm like, have fun in potato country.
Like, where's Idaho?
Yeah, and but the first time I came up to visit them, I'm like, wow, this place is really cool. I'm like, everybody that comes up here, it's not something you see on a map and go, yeah, I want to go to Boise. But if you stumble across it, you fall in love with it. And Boise is actually a lot more the feel that I grew up with in Florida.
Okay.
Just the freedom, the people, except for instead of a beach, it's mountains.
Yeah.
Although the sand is about as white as the snow here, if we get it ever.
Yep.
So
yeah, that Gulf Coast sand is like blinding.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I remember being in Clearwater Beach a few times. Beautiful spot, and so bright you can't really look at it. It also is so fine it squeaks when you walk on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's powdery. So I really got spoiled. Pensacola is one of the top beaches in Florida, but it's up on the Panhandle, right close to Alabama. It's actually where they train all the Navy pilots. So the home of the Blue Angels. So you'd be on the beach, and the Blue Angels would be flying by and practicing and stuff. And really neat. Moved to Southern California, and the waves were nicer there because I surfed, and that was fun. But I hated the beaches there. The water was like, it was cold. The beaches were like rocky and gravelly. I'm like, this isn't real sand. And so I was kind of a beach snob. And I remember when we had kids, we'd take them down to Disneyland and to Southern California and that sort of thing. And they would talk about the beaches. I'm like, yeah, these aren't really that cool. And we finally had the opportunity to go back to Pensacola just before COVID and took the whole family down there. And my kids were like, you grew up here, Dad? Like, okay, now I get it. I get why you like are such a beach snob because the water is like bath water. The sand is just that squeaky, clean, bright white.
Yeah.
So plug for Pensacola. So
that's true. I haven't been to Florida in a long time, but there was a season there over a few years that I was there several times. But it's kind of fun. So I grew up in Seattle, and so Florida and California were always the spots that we'd all dream about living, right?
Sure.
Because 9 months of the year we're in the cold and the wet. And so going to California was obviously easier. Going to Florida was a much bigger trip. But yeah, so born in Guam, very tropical, then lived in Spain, fairly warm climate.
Yeah.
And then Florida, of course, very warm climate. And then Southern California. And here you are in the Northwest
Idaho.
now.
Yeah. The Pacific Northwest. Well, I mean, definitely hotter here in the summer than there, but
for sure.
No humidity. So.
No, and for me, like we intentionally moved here, and we've been here for almost 9 years now, actually, and it's a much sunnier place than where I grew up.
Yeah.
So we love the climate here, except for today and this last
week
or two in the inversion land. So.
Now, according to the Apple app, it's now air stagnation.
Okay.
Changed that name. It's not inversion anymore. It's air stagnation. So,
great.
I don't know if you noticed that. I looked on my my weather app, and it says air stagnation. I'm like, what is air stagnation? I've never heard that. And then 3 people I ran into like that week were talking about, oh yeah, it's air stagnation. Like,
it's funny what Apple can put, or anybody can put on a phone that then becomes like normal vernacular for us. We just start saying it because that's what the app says.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. So came to Idaho. You've been here for more than 30 years. Came here as a very young adult.
Yeah.
And you've stayed.
Yeah, stayed. I actually originally came up because I did actually want to get into firefighting.
Yeah.
And in California at that time, to be a white male, it was like a 5-year waiting list. So I came up here.
Improved your odds coming up here?
Yeah, I thought so. And so I did wildland fires for a little bit.
Okay.
Did helitack, jumping out of a helicopter, and that was a great,
whoa, that's cool.
Great time. And then was bartending in the wintertime. And
what elevations were you jumping out of helicopters?
Oh, you're rappelling out most of the time. Most of the time,
okay, we're not talking.
Yeah, no, not
parachutes.
Not smoke jumper. But yeah, most of the time the helicopter would be able to land. Sometimes you'd rappel out of it, so not very high, but still be walking into a fire.
That'd be cool.
But that was kind of my intention, was to get out of Southern California. Because that was right after like the riots and OJ and all that stuff was happening around us.
Yeah.
So I came up shortly after that, and it was like, yeah, that was no place to have a family, and I started to see very clearly in the dating world and that sort of thing. It was all about how much you made and what kind of car you drove and that sort of thing, and then there was Idaho, and I'd come up to visit here. I'm like, wow, it's clean. There's no vandalism, everything. And I thought I'd have a better shot of getting into the fire department. And so that's why I came up here. And but now and met a girl, got married, and like, all right, well, I guess I go to work now instead of waiting for the fire department. So now I show up after the fire is out and with a check instead of
there you go. Yeah,
the hose before. Yep.
So I think you mentioned to me beforehand, before our conversation, you have 4 kids. Is that right?
4 kids. Yeah. So, we have his, hers, and ours, or I always say his, hers, and someone else's. Our youngest is adopted, although, our oldest is the one that looks adopted. Our 3 youngest all look identical, blonde, beautiful girls, and then 1 long hair boy. But yeah, family's very big. We love our kids. Love to try to spend as much time with them as possible. Yeah, that's kind of that quality of time. Those are just things you can't get back.
That's right. Well, cool. Tell me a little bit about what you like to do in your life outside of work. Right. So you can pick the season, right? That's one of the benefits of living here in this place is we have different seasons. So
yeah,
what do you like to do?
I would say summer is definitely our favorite. We're boaters.
Love that.
Yeah, we're boaters. We, the wakeboarding, surfing, skiing. Mostly it's surfing now.
Yeah.
I was a diehard slalom skier and like didn't want to have anything to do with the big wakeboard boats. Tried it a couple of times, fell. It really hurt. And until surfing came along, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, that's my jam. That's our family's thing is boats do not make financial sense, but it's been the best investment. We've got our kids almost every weekend in the summertime. We have their friends. We're out of cell zones or anything like that. So it's our favorite time. My kids actually, they literally grew up on a boat. I bought my first boat. It was funny because the guy that was selling it was because they were expecting their first child.
Okay.
And I was buying it because we just had our first child.
So they're trying to get out of it.
Yeah, they're trying to get out of it. I'm like, no, this is how I want to raise my family is on a boat. And so when I say my kids grew up on a boat, I used to heat their bottle up with the hot water shower.
Dang.
Yeah. So they literally grew up on the boat.
That's cool.
But it was funny, years of growing up on the boat. They're all teenagers, and they could tube and they could all surf. But one tried water skiing one time and got drug under, and she swore she'd never try it again. And then that scared the others. So none of them, they couldn't wakeboard, they couldn't surf, they couldn't drive the boat, they couldn't. I'm like, you guys, you cannot grow up on a boat and not know how to do it all. And so a couple summers ago, I'm like, all right, this is the year. You guys, you're going to learn how to water ski. You're going to learn how to wakeboard. You're like, you have to at least learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the funnest times we had at the lake because our kids, I mean, they used to get up on the surfboard with me, like between legs, and you probably did the same thing with your kids. And so they picked it up and they haven't failed at anything in a long time. So throwing a couple of slalom skis on a 16-year-old girl who hasn't like failed for, 5 years, and she's out there with the skis just flapping around, and she's like, I feel like a baby giraffe learning to walk.
Yep.
And that was the most fun that we had. It was just like 3 or 4 of our family, no other friends or anything. We're like, this is the day. We got nothing else to do, so let's do this. And it's just so fun. It's just those are great moments. We're lake people. Just love. That's our happy place.
Love that. Obviously, very, very similar in that regard.
Yeah, you guys, you're boaters too, right?
Yes, as much as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Did your kids ever go through a stage of they didn't want to be on the boat? They're bored, they're whatever. We always go on the boat, and it's totally first world, kind of being spoiled.
Yeah, first world problems. They went through a little bit of that, but I think they always had friends that were like, "Oh, let's do this." Yeah. So they were always excited. But yeah, there were a couple of times like, "Oh, do we have to go again?" Like, yeah, it's such a bummer.
Oh,
the best is
a hard way to spend your Saturday afternoon.
They did go through a period. You're driving up to Lucky Peak and you look down there and you see the spring, or not spring shores, the sandy point there with the fountain. And there's all the kids on the white on the sand beach and stuff like that. And so as we're driving up with the boat, my kids one time, they're like, "Oh, Dad, that looks like fun. Can we go there sometime?" And I'm like, you guys realize that all those kids are sitting there watching all these boats go by going,
yes,
man, Dad, I wish we could go there.
Exactly.
So yeah, you always want what so the grass is always greener.
Always. The grass is always greener. Yeah. We deal with that quite a bit. Like our kids will complain, we got to go to the lake again. And then we get out there and it's usually a great time.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. If they can bring a friend along, that's, breaks up some of the norm a little bit, that helps a lot. But
yeah. And you get to know their friends too.
Oh, yeah.
You get to, kind of teenagers typically that don't want to share what's in their world, but the boat is definitely a great leveling place for that. So, but
that was a long time dream for us. I grew up around boats, never owned my own though until 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, me either. I had uncles that had boats, and it was about like 1 week out of the year that we would go camping and water skiing and that sort of thing. And so that was always the dream. So it wasn't playing accountant or fireman or policeman. It was the house, the white picket fence, the family, the vacation, the boating, that sort of thing. That was always the dream. Yeah,
it's the experiences we want, and then of course the careers and the sales and all the things that we have to do as a means to that end, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
cool. So spending time on the lake, love that. That's great. What else? What else are you guys about?
We like to travel. We're pretty blessed that we've got to travel. We like to go to different states and stuff. My middle daughter was going to school in Tennessee. She got a track scholarship, so she could go to Tennessee for about as cheap as she could stay and go to BSU.
Yeah.
Which was really kind of surprising because she's a huge Broncos fan.
Okay.
She's my football buddy. I never thought she was going to leave, but how she got recruited to go run track and a small school in Tennessee, and she took it and went there and great experience. She is a dental hygienist, just graduated last May.
Good for her.
Awesome. Graduated, had her license 5 days, had 3 different job offers. So great experience. But the last 4 years have been bringing her back and forth to college. And we would always drive her out there so she'd have a car while she was there.
Yep.
And then we would fly back and then reverse in the summer. And we thought about it. We're like, you can do this one or two ways. You could like kill yourself and drive from here to Tennessee in 3 days and just be miserable and get it over as fast as possible.
10 hours a day or whatever.
Yeah. Or we could make it our family vacation. Like here's let's take some time. Let's turn it into a week. So we went for the last 4 years. We've been going, and it was right after COVID too. So we liked traveling, but so much was shut down after, and you had to jump through so many hoops to go anywhere. And we thought, well, there's a lot of America that we haven't been to.
Right.
There's still a few states that I hadn't lived in. So, it was like, let's get it. And my wife had a goal of 50 before 50. She's still got 2 more years to make it. And I think only 7 states left. I didn't quite make it. I think I only need 1 more state.
Really?
But I'm 53. So I didn't.
But you've been to 49 states.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the one you haven't been to?
I think at Rhode Island.
Okay.
Yeah. Rhode Island. So, yeah. But there's plans for that. My wife doesn't know that yet, but hopefully this will air after her birthday in a couple of weeks. So
I think you're safe.
I'll be safe. So we have plans of rectifying that, but we thought, all right, well, here's a great opportunity. We haven't seen so much of America, and we have to literally drive across America 8 different times over the next 4 years.
Right.
So we took a different route every time. We tried to shorten it up, so we were only driving maybe 6 hours a day. So the first time we went north, so we went like Wyoming. We stopped at Mount Rushmore, and we tried to make it as to get as many states in as possible. So if and you had to do something in a state, you couldn't just drive.
Airport doesn't count.
Airport doesn't count. You have to have a meal. You have to have an activity. You have to have done something in it. So
stop the car and get out.
Yeah. So there was a lot of times where like you'd be driving down the highway, and if you could cross over the river and you'd be in one city. So we'd do that. We'd cross over and go to lunch there, and then we'd go back. So we got pretty much most of the states. We did the northern way to Tennessee, then we did the middle and came through Colorado and that sort of thing. And then the last time we changed it up a little bit. Instead of driving shorter increments, we drove 10 hours, but we took the second day off. So we so we did here to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then took the next day off and explored the city. Okay. Then from there through Roswell, New Mexico, and down to San Antonio, Texas, and did the river walk and stayed a day there, and then down to Pensacola, Florida, and then hung out a few days on the beach, and then up to Tennessee. One time we passed Tennessee and went all the way to Myrtle Beach and hung out there. And so we just always kind of made a trip out of it. And we tried not to eat any fast food, not to eat any chains. It was, tried to be local. Yeah. Tried to sit down for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and just kind of enjoy it.
Nice.
If there was, the world's largest ball of twine 30 minutes away, like we were going to go see it. We went to Sturgis, took the family to Sturgis, nice. Just a couple of,
you guys get a Harley while you were
kids, there? Yeah, going to Sturgis. As we were going through, the plan was to go to Mount Rushmore, and we kept seeing Harleys everywhere. It was just like motorcycles after motorcycle. Yeah. We're like, what is going on? And then we figured out, Sturgis is going on. And we look on the map. We're like, well, it's a 15-minute detour. Should we go through? So
Yes.
so we drove through.
Yeah.
We didn't get out of the car. It was, but we drove through and was able to check. Yeah, did it. Got the speeding ticket to prove it. So
Oh, nice.
It's nice.
Well, that's cool. Way to stop and smell the roses. Way to take advantage of an opportunity, which is super cool. And so many of us, I feel like we're just always in a hurry that we wouldn't give time to see the world's largest ball of twine or to actually sit at a restaurant that we've never been to before, which might cost more or take longer, right? Who knows?
Yeah, so. It's been neat. And it's kind of cool too, because our kids have seen that.
Yeah.
And so we've modeled that for our kids. And it's been neat to see, even when this last trip, when we went to actually pick my daughter up from school and watch her graduation and stuff, like she was excited to take us around. And she's like, oh, you got to try this restaurant. You got to try this restaurant. And these holes in the wall places that, it wasn't a chain. It wasn't anything. And it was just a neat experience. And so it's been cool that the kids have been able to see that and do that and have that. We started doing that actually a few years. How old are your kids?
15, 13, and almost 11.
Okay. So perfect age. I don't know what you do for Christmas now, but when our kids got to that age, it was the age where, first world problems, they had everything that they needed. And the things that they wanted were, pretty spendy. Yeah. And most of the time they didn't care about them 2 weeks later. And
Correct.
So we started doing where, instead of doing a bunch of Christmas presents, we would do a family vacation. And it actually probably worked out more expensive than Christmas, but it was less expensive than Christmas and a family vacation.
Sure.
But that was kind of the deal. So we scaled way back on Christmas presents. The first year they were like, "Are we poor? Like, there's not many presents under the
we are.
not many presents under the tree." There was like some like card games and some Mad Libs and just like kind of stuff like
bucks.
that. Yeah. And but they opened up one box and it was Mickey Mouse ears.
Oh, cool.
And we're like, yeah, we leave as soon as you're packed.
Oh,
and
nice.
So
It's like same day.
Yeah, same day. So
that's
Christmas
cool.
morning we were on our way down to Disneyland and just a great experience. And another time they woke up and they opened up a box and it had the orange life jackets from the boat and their passports and maracas. I always say mariachis. I'm like, I wrapped up some mariachis, but my wife always corrects me. No, we did not wrap up a Mexican band. We wrapped up maracas in there. And so we did one of those little quick cruises down from California to Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff. But yeah, those are the moments. And the kids, they know about that. And they talk about that, those experiences.
Yep.
Oh, remember when we did this, or remember when we had that?
The Christmas gift they never forget.
Yeah.
How cool. Yeah.
So it's kind of neat, but that's a fun age to do it. Now we're at the age where they're all adults and they have significant others and they don't understand why their significant others can't come and why we do have some boundaries when it comes to that. Like, all right, they can come, but yeah, they're going to have their own room.
So for sure.
So it makes it a little more complicated as they're adults now.
Yeah. Fast forward a few years for me, and I'm sure we'll be in that same boat. But for now, we're a little more simplicity from that standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah.
One time we did Christmas in our camper in Arizona, and that was COVID actually.
Yeah.
And so that was a really fun experience you do it and in the moment it was great, but I think the memories of it are actually better than what the experience actually was.
Yeah, absolutely. So on one of the trips that we did, have you ever seen a car bingo? There's
like a bingo game.
Yeah, there's a bingo game, and they have these little cards, and like with a little plastic, like where you can close over it. And the game, there might be like if you see a horse, that's one of the things. If you see a hill, if you see a grove of trees, if you see a tow truck or something, all these things. And so we got those for the kids, and we'd play those. And my youngest daughter at the time, I don't know, she's probably 5 or 6. She's in the very back of the third row. Yep. And she's got her headset on, so she's oblivious to what's been going on in the car for the last 30 minutes. And she yells from the back. She's like, "Shut your hill!" And we're like, "What?" And she's like, "Shut your hill!" And it took us like a while. We're like, what is she talking about? We're like, oh, she's still playing the game, but none of us have been playing it so that's kind of one of those things that we always talk about. Well, I was organizing, cleaning out the junk closet in our house, and I came across those. And so I took it like a picture of it, and I put it out on the family group text. I'm like, shut your hill. And all the kids just, I mean, this is 10 years ago. They're all adults now, and they're like, oh my gosh, such great memories. And so, it's those neat things that it's been a blessing that we've been able to do, and just cool having that time with the kids.
That's awesome. I'm gonna make a note of that. I guess we're recording this, so that way. So
bingo and
and Christmas Day trips. That'd be a fun thing to do.
Yeah, that was neat. It's sometimes it's less expensive to travel on Christmas, sometimes not so much. But yeah, that's probably one of the neatest things that we've done as a family is to do that.
Cool.
It's cool.
You'd mentioned earlier church or your faith, and I can't remember specifically, but would love to hear a little bit about that. I think you guys are a part of Stonehill, is that right?
Yeah, Stonehill Church out of Mountain View High School now. We're supposed to be breaking ground hopefully in the spring, but that's been supposed to be breaking ground for the last 3 springs, I think. So getting closer to that. But yeah, I was born and raised Catholic, and grew up Catholic school, altar boy, the whole works. And then when I met my wife, we kind of blending families, blending bank accounts, blending churches, going back and forth. She went to a Christian church, and we kind of went back and forth. And the first time I went to her church, I enjoyed it, but I felt like it was a little like motivational seminar. It wasn't quite the ritual that I had grown up with. So I was a little hesitant, but I found that more and more I went there, I found that I was getting fed more. And they were really big in outreach, and so I've got to go on a couple of mission trips.
Oh, cool.
And that's been really neat. And we were part of a program where we'd go out and feed the homeless the church did it every single Sunday, and we ended up leading every 4th group,
cool.
4th week. So it was really great. And so now, we've been members of Stonehill ever since COVID. My wife's actually on staff there. She's the outreach coordinator.
Nice.
So she organizes with the nonprofits and all the volunteer hours and that sort of stuff. So
that's cool.
So I tend to volunteer for a lot of stuff. Like I don't even remember signing up for it, but she tells me I did. So apparently I did.
Voluntolding.
Yeah, exactly. But it's been great. But yeah, my faith is a big part of my life. It's something that I try to bring into my work and really into everything. And I look at it as, this is everything you do is your mission.
That's right.
You have the chance to share your faith with, at work, at, the grocery store or wherever. And so in work, especially with insurance, and helping people with that type of stuff, I've gotten to pray for people. After they've been in accidents, we've gotten to got to show up with when we have some freezer meals set aside, and like when somebody's been in an accident or had something go on, like we've shown up with a freezer meal. Not to everybody, so I apologize if you're insured with me and I didn't bring you a freezer meal when you're in an accident. I apologize. You just obviously it looked like you could handle it, but sometimes you can get that sense where they're really having a rough go or something's really scary, and so just try to be a blessing with that. But and God is he's played a part with it. I mean, there's just times when my phone will ring out of the blue. It's weird. I don't know, 10 years in the restaurant business, 11 years in the car business, always believed in God, but I don't think I ever talked about God to anybody in those paths. But 17 years now in the insurance business, and it seems like it's probably once a month that I'll come across somebody that I'll listen to their story and I'll just ask like, hey, can I pray for you?
Yeah.
And they'll let me, or I'll usually have like maybe some like Christian music or something like that in the background or something. And they're like, hey, does this need to breathe? Is it like, and then we'll start talking, what church do you go to? And So it's been neat to be able to share my faith and just do that. And yeah, we've been very blessed. I think God's just shown up and provided for us and blessed us. It's always kind of a weird thing because it's like, that's a big part of me. And so I think I definitely talk more about God at work than I do work at church. Like I kind of,
Sure.
I kind of like shy from that at church. I do insure a lot of people at Stonehill, but I that's not why I go to church. I never want to be that guy that's like, oh yeah, I believe in Jesus. Buy insurance from me. It's just kind of a byproduct from it. But no, it's always a big. I think it's got to be a big part of your job, of your life. I mean, if he's in you, he's in you.
Amen. You said it so well without me even having to ask the question. It was so great. I was kind of sitting here scheming in my head, hey, how can I work this in? And so I just kind of teed you up and you hit it out of the park. So thanks for sharing that. My question was going to be, hey, have you integrated your faith into your work much? And you've already answered that for us. So
yeah,
I love that. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks. It's like I said, I don't have a problem integrating my faith in my work. The work and the faith, I always kind of like at an arm's distance. I mean, sure, if somebody wants to get a quote or ask me about it, I'm happy to help them. But I kind of try to shy away from that. I kind of like try to keep that not separate, but that's not why I go there.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. Thanks for asking.
Oh, you bet, man. Absolutely. Well, hey, we could go into a number of different things, but I think we're probably at a point here where maybe we'll wrap it up for today.
Yeah.
I think maybe questions for next time could be more about insurance industry specific things. I think there's probably a stigma out there, myself included. And I've said it, you may have heard me say it, that insurance is something that, gosh, we all have to have, but none of us really like.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you want to try to tackle that. Or I just said it. So you're more than welcome to jump into that now, or we can table that for another conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it definitely is. There's a lot to unpack there, but yeah, it's one of those things. It's not something you like having. It's not something you want to use, but when it's there, I mean, Farm Bureau, they paid out over $200 million last year, just in Idaho. And Farm Bureau is just local to Idaho, so we didn't have to pay out for California fires and that sort of stuff. But if you haven't used it, somebody has. So it's important to know what you have and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think if you understand it and you have the right policy, I think it's a little bit easier of a pill to swallow. But yeah, I get it. I pay the same bill too. So yeah. But it is cool when you see it actually work and do something. And
it's great when you need it and it's there, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, again, we've said this before. The whole point of these conversations is that people would know, like, and trust you. And then that's the kind of people we want to do business with. Before we kind of wrap this up, what should a customer maybe experience, or what would a client experience if they did get in touch with you? What's that process look like?
Yeah, I think, it just be prepared. It's going to be more than 15 minutes. And that's
a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, you don't go, buy shoes without knowing what size fits you and that sort of thing. And so it takes some time to make sure that you have the right policy. And it's not about upselling. It's not about trying to talk you into something that you don't need. It's, I mean, you can buy the best plan in the world, but if it's something you don't need, then it's worthless. And you can buy the cheapest plan in the world, but if it doesn't do what you want it to do, it's worthless. So yeah, we're going to take some time. We're going to find out what you actually need. And by that, I mean, liability limits. You can set those limits. They pretty much, they represent your net worth. So an 18-year-old kid doesn't need to have $1 million policy.
True.
But somebody that's got a lot of assets, maybe they need $1 million policy. Yeah. We're going to ask questions about your house. What kind of floors you have, what kind of countertops you have, which are kind of weird things. Like, why do you need to know that? Well, so we need to know what it costs to rebuild that house. Right. Is it just a cookie cutter builder's grade house, or is it custom? We want to make sure that we're not just picking a number and putting it on it, that we're tailoring it to you. So, Yeah, just like you're buying a suit, we're gonna measure or make sure that what you buy fits your needs, and you're not going to have any gaps in coverage. And then it's not a one and done thing that, all right, I talked to my insurance guy 10 years ago. Well, your insurance changes, your needs change. So it's important to talk to your guy. And that's one of the things you do with mortgages is pretty neat, is do the renewals and do the checkups and that sort of thing. So I always tell people we can do the best job in the world for you today, but if we don't talk for another 5 or 10 years, it might not be still the same best policy for you.
That's right.
And a lot of times we talk to people and we save them money because, we found out this, or, there's another, maybe take a higher deductible or that sort of thing. Yep. So yeah, I would say just don't like it, but we don't like going to the doctor and a lot of stuff, but
that's true.
It's good for us to sit down and go through those and make sure if we got to pay for something, we know what we're buying and we have the thing that fits us.
Yeah. I love that. So we're always trying to be a value before, during, and long after a mortgage transaction closes. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're trying to do, is be a long time, forever value to your clients. So I think we're a great fit for each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's pretty neat. I think so many, especially I think you're the first person I've heard in your industry that actually does that mortgage checkup and checks back in with them on that. Because it has so much changes with rates. And
it's crazy. I was talking to a coach yesterday and he was like, hey, we're looking for inefficiencies here, and not because we're trying to create them, but because life happens and circumstances change and people's finances are different. And so what was efficient for them 5 years ago may not be the right situation for them now. And so, if we don't talk to people, then it's hard to actually be able to provide them value. Right.
Yeah.
So
I met with some clients the other day and I would say probably 90% of the time when people come in for the renewals, they walk out spending less than they did. It's not, we don't upsell them, or we may have added something, but maybe they're in a different position. Maybe when they started, they couldn't afford anything other than a $500 deductible would kill them. So that's what they had. Well, now they got some money in the bank. They're doing well. They could easily come up with a $2,000 deductible, and that saves them money. It lowers their premium. And so a lot of times we'll tweak and adjust, and the company's always coming up with different discounts, and now we have a military discount, or we have this discount that we didn't have back then. And so there's a lot of great ways that we can tweak and adjust and help keep those premiums down. So it's always worth an ounce of prevention, right? That's what they say. So
I like it. That's good. Well, cool. Thank you so much for being here today, Keefan. Really, really appreciate it. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Probably our phone, 208-618-2085. Okay. Or you can reach out to Idaho Farm Bureau, and you can find us there, Keefan Caron. And there's myself, and I have a team. So when I'm off doing fun stuff like this, somebody's still there answering the phone and emails and that sort of thing.
That's great. One thing I forgot to mention was building a team and being in sales and having this type of career affords us maybe unique opportunities than others to be able to take potentially more time off or time off when others can't. So another cool thing.
And be a blessing to somebody else that, all right, provided a career to.
Absolutely.
We have 4 others in our team, so provided a career for them too. So it's been really neat.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing your story with us. We really appreciate it, and look forward to doing this again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks.
All right.